Probably.
All right. Okay. So I think my duty today is to give a bit of an overview definition of solidarity economy, make some connections to the theme of the conference, and hopefully start us on our path for the rest of the conference, the next 2 days. So I want to start with the theme of this conference. I was thinking about this. Okay, so place, politics, potential. I hope I got that right.
Yep.
So I was thinking about that, and at first it was a bit challenging. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, okay, there's a good fit here. Solidarity economy is inherently about place because it's really about building healthy, thriving communities. It's really about making sure that we have an economy that works for people and planet. In order to work for people, you need to start with what's going on in a particular place, in many places, and then making the connection beyond just your local community to making sure that communities everywhere and throughout the world are thriving. So contrast this to capitalism, right? Where the goal or the organizing principle is around profit maximization and growth. So that has really nothing to do with place, right? Business that's looking to maximize profits goes where the regulations are few, the wages are low, where profits are high. If there's another opportunity that opens up somewhere else, they're off and running. It's not connected to place. It's not particularly concerned with building healthy, thriving communities that work for people. Solidarity economy is all about that. So it's certainly about place. I want to say another dimension of place, which is planet. Solidarity economy is also, in its principles, committed to principles of sustainability, the rights of Mother Earth, which is a kind of a growing framework and approach to the notion that Mother Earth or nature has rights. So this is coming out originally out of Bolivia, very much informed by indigenous worldviews, has been enshrined in their constitution, the rights of Mother Earth, and it's embedded in a whole a whole approach to what our lives are about, which is this notion of buen vivir. So for those of you who haven't heard of that before, it's about good living or living well. So it's not the good life, which is maybe, fancy cars and big houses. It's about living well, and what does that mean? And embedded in that concept of living well or buen vivir is also our relationship to Mother Earth. So I think these are all concepts that are very important to solidarity economy. Certainly in Latin America, the concept of buen vivir is very closely linked to solidarity economy. And I'll just mention that at this conference in Manila that Stephen talked about, there was an affirmation or a reaffirmation that REPES is committed to buen vivir, the concept of buen vivir, and the rights of Mother Earth. So I think there's lots there. I don't have time really to explore it in any great detail. There's lots there to follow up on and think about. What does that mean? What are the practical implications, particularly the rights of Mother Earth? If ecosystems, local ecosystems, and nature in general actually has rights, what does that mean? It's pretty profound when you really start thinking about it. Okay, so that's place. Politics. An economic system, really, is driven by ideology, right? So all economies are socially created, right? There's nothing natural about an economic system. It's not like the law of gravity. It's a social creation. As a social creation, it's driven by a particular ideology and a particular belief system, right? A belief system about, one, who we are, and for instance, what our relationship is to nature. So for instance, capitalism assumes that we are rational, calculating, self-interested, we're trying to get the biggest bang for the buck, that we're competitive. This is the assumption of human nature. And then you build an economic system that reflects that, right? So you build businesses that are profit maximizing, that are owned by individuals who are calculating always how to maximize their profits. They produce things for sale, not necessarily for use. It's not necessarily the most useful or necessary things that are produced. It's the things that make the highest profit. So that it gives you a sense of depending on the worldview, the belief about who we are as human beings, it very much affects what kind of an economic system you have. Solidarity economy, by contrast, believes that, yeah, we have those aspects as well. We have, self-interest, we are rational, we are calculating, but we also have this other side. Right? We have this balance where we care about each other, that we have solidarity, that we have love, that we have empathy, that we enjoy working together, that we cooperate. So solidarity economy has this, I believe, a much more balanced view of human nature, which has profound implications for what kind of an economic system we're going to build. The other dimension is solidarity economy also has a different view of nature, where we're part of nature. And we have to respect the laws of nature, as opposed to having a utilitarian relationship. That nature is there for us to dominate, nature is there for us to use, nature is there for us to exploit and extract and make profits from. So, solidarity economy is very much driven by a different worldview, a different conception of who we are as human beings, what our relationship is to nature, and in order to realize an economic system, a social economic system that promotes these values and these ways of understanding who we are, you need rules, you need governance, you need institutions. In other words, you need politics. So it's very much a case of politics is what shapes a particular economy. It sets rules about ownership, it sets rules about trade, it sets rules about all kinds of things that create a capitalist system, creates a socialist system, creates a solidarity economy. Okay, so that's politics. It's very important to grapple with that. What are the rules? What are the institutions that we need to really strengthen and build a solidarity economy as a system? So then potential. Well, obviously that's what we're here today to talk about, and it might feel like a small step, right? But solidarity economy is very much grounded in the small steps, and it's very much rooted in the grassroots and bottom-up action and organizing. So it's entirely appropriate that we're talking about these big issues of kind of system change on a very local level. And eventually, yes, we need to reach all levels, right? Be talking at the grassroots and at the policy levels and everywhere in between. Okay, so I'm going to move on from there to talking a little bit more about what is solidarity economy. And the technology cooperates. A lot of you probably will have seen this Prezi before. I like to use it because can really see that. The reason, can folks see it?
No.
Not really. All right, let me point. I like to use this because there's a tendency for people to think about the solidarity economy as like a particular piece. So lots of people think that solidarity economy is just co-ops. Or if they're working in, I don't know, some other area. I mean, there's a tendency for people to think about solidarity economy as one thing or another. And what I really want to hopefully hammer home here is that we have to think about the solidarity economy as a system, as a whole system. And so if we think about an economic system, well, let me take a step back. First of all, when we're talking about rights of Mother Earth and nature, we need to think about any economic system, any social economic system, as being embedded in the world ecosystem. So that's this big circle. Here's the world ecosystem, right? So we really need to think of the solidarity economy as embedded in that. Governance here is what I was talking about when I was talking about politics, right? The governance system really shapes the rules and institutions that define a particular economic system. And then we have these economic spheres. So we have production, we have distribution and exchange, we have consumption, and we have finance and capital. And then these other arrows, I won't go into it, but they're sort of trying to close the loop and show how, you know, the wastes from production go back into the natural environment, some of it gets reused in production, etc. So that's kind of trying to really visually show ecological principles. So the other thing that that we have here are these principles. So solidarity economy is very much grounded in principles or values. It'll look a little bit different in different parts of the world. And even, yeah, I mean, solidarity economy network, we use 5. So solidarity, equity in all dimensions. So we talked about race, class, gender, etc., etc. Participatory democracy, so that's not just voting, that's democracy in your community, so participatory budgeting, for example. It's democracy in the workplace, so for example, cooperatives. Sustainability, and the 5th one is pluralism, which means that it's not a one-size-fits-all model. We believe that different things will work in different places and at different times. So it's not a blueprint, we're not rigid ideologues. So what I wanted to do, I don't have any idea how much time I have.
It's 10:05.
And what time am I trying?
Well, we want to have the first sessions at 10:30, so.
Okay, so,
that time.
okay, what I wanted to do is have you all turn to your neighbor and talk a little bit about what part of the solidarity economy you are engaged in. I know all of you are engaged in one way or another. So one way to think about this that it might be helpful is to think about when we're thinking about transforming the system, right? Solidarity economy is clearly committed to system change, transformation. We need a little bit of clarity about what we're transforming from, so we don't end up just recreating it, sort of unwittingly. So let me just offer you these 5 characteristics that at the Center for Popular Economics we've been using for decades to define capitalism. So they're pretty simple. 1 is private ownership of and here's a term, of the MOPs, the means of production. So it's private ownership of the factory, of the tools, of the equipment, etc. Okay, private ownership of the means of production. 2, production for profit. So profit maximization. 3, commodity production. What that means is you're producing for sale. So what you grow in your garden is not commodity. If you eat it, it's not commodity production. You're producing that for yourself. Or if you give it away, right? So it's produced for sale. 4, exchange through markets, right? Based on prices. And 5, wage labor. Okay? So there's an owner who hires workers, right? And the workers are never paid the full value of what they produce, and the surplus is accumulated by the owner, or that the owner gets the surplus. Okay, so those are the 5 characteristics. One alone does not make for a capitalist enterprise. So if you have a business like a cooperative that makes profits and sells in the marketplace and sells a commodity, that's still not a capitalist business, because it doesn't have a wage, labor, owner-worker relationship. Okay, you need all 5 of those dimensions. So that might be helpful when you talk about what you're engaged in, to think about, oh, okay, something that's not that driven by profit, right? Hiring workers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay?